or if there's a dangerous piece of metal, I can't remember what it was, but it just had no place. It made no sense that it was in the schoolyard. If that qualifies me as a problem parent, then I think we need a lot more of those here in this city. Because unfortunately, I think we've been standing by for too long. But we've been allowing our children's resources and the importance in our children to fall by the wayside for way too long. And I think that's something that you members of the school committee should please keep in mind from this point forward. Our children are our future. Our children are our salvation. And we need to treat them as such. I think that's my last point. The question that we need to leave ourselves with is, are we concerned about our children or are we concerned about ourselves? Thank you very much.
The next speaker against posting the superintendent's position is Thomas Strange.
Good evening. I'm Tom Strangey. I'm at 21 Thompson Lane. Principal of English High School. I am here not because the superintendent controls my job. I'm here because she deserves my support and she's earned my support. She's a phenomenal worker, tireless, effortless, always on behalf of students, working for them. I've talked to her as early as 6:30 in the morning dealing with issues, and I've talked to her as late as 11 o'clock on a Saturday night as issues crop up, and she's concerned what's going on, wants to make sure that we're in the loop so I can notify teachers, guidance counselors, so we can handle issues. She lets nothing lie. She is proactive all the time. This job is not an entitlement job for her. She has deserved it. The effort that she's put in the last 3 years is incredible. The hours, it's nonstop. You drive by this place on the weekend, you will see her car parked in her parking space. She is in this building and working. Anytime we've had issues, questions, I can call her. Sometimes we've disagreed, but it doesn't matter. She has a vision. She follows through. You might not like the answer sometime, and I think some people get upset about that, but that's what she gets paid to do. It's that tough decision. Anybody can yes people to death, yes, 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 and whatever you want, and you don't go anywhere. She has made great strides. If you look at the MCAS scores, if you look at what's going on in the rest of the state, we are improving. We are one of the top ranking schools going. So all of this that we're falling apart, she has met insurmountable challenges. She's met them. She's overcome some of them, and still working to provide for the school system. Absolutely ridiculous at this time of the year that you would want to post her job, that we have budget decisions to be made, postings of teachers' jobs, filling positions. So it would be ridiculous, and that would be crippling the school system. She's done a phenomenal job. She deserves everybody's respect and their value. I understand people are going to have gripes. I'm the principal of the school, I know. I have 1,700 children, equates to about 3,400 parents. A dozen parents complain, and people get all upset. Parents are complaining, and you're going to say, well, wait a minute. A dozen are complaining, but I got 3,000 that aren't. 14,000 plus students in the city of Lynn. So what are we talking about? 28,000 parents? And we're hearing from a select few, and others who obviously seem to be content because they're not here, upset with what's going on. I would urge you to make sure that you extend her contract. With a pivotal time in education, she's doing a great thing. I go to all different meetings myself, Northeast Conference. People know her, people respect her, people think we're lucky that we have her. To cast her aside would be a disgrace. So I'm here just to thank you for all your support. You do not deserve what you've been going for the last several months at all.
The next name on the in favor list is Lynn Tarasuic, and there is a notation here that you would like to donate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, you do not wish to speak. The next name here is another name that has spoken before. I just want to make sure we don't have a second Calvin Anderson in the room. We do not. We also have Sean Tarasuk, who signed up in favor of posting the position, also looking to donate the time. Mr. Tarasuk, do you wish to speak?
Yes,
Please state your name and home address.
Good evening, my name is Sean Tarasuk of 223 Euclid Ave here in Lynn. I know a lot of people on the school committee here. I'm actually a member of the Parent Advisory Committee here in Lynn. I just recently retired out of the U.S. Navy, came back to Lynn, graduated from Lynn schools, attended these schools. Now my sons now attend Lynn schools, so I'm a father, a longtime resident of Lynn, coming back, a patriot. I'm not here trying to say that Ms. Latham is the correct choice for superintendent. Whether or not that's, in my eyes, that's neither here nor there. From what I've heard previously, and I'm just using my life experience through the military and common sense in my eyes, is it seems to me like the people that are posting this position feel like that there's a witch hunt or somebody's trying to knock Mrs. Latham out of a job. Me working in government for 24 years, I would say that the people made that choice. That people took, your constituents have taken their time and their effort to actually make this happen. Sitting back here in the very back of the room, the opposing personnel, the majority of them that I've seen are either school employees. I haven't seen regular people come up here and speak. They're either politicians, they're school district employees. I personally, I know I've left the room 2 or 3 times, I have not heard a parent speak on that behalf. Stats. The 4 personnel bring up stats. And we've all heard stats. The opposing side, they have opposing stats. Stats, trends, analysis, whatever you want to call it. Numbers are numbers. Numbers count all the time. Numbers count during election time, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting at today. So, ultimately, I'm not for or against Mrs. Latham, but I do think that the people of the city of Lynn should have that opportunity to have that posting. I mean, our country was based on what we're doing tonight. The people have spoke. They're your constituents. They voted for you. They respect you. They all value your opinion. And that's why they're here tonight speaking on other residents of the city of Lynn. I mean, like I said, I got 2 young boys within the school system. One's a 7-year-old autistic son, and my other son, well, he's a spitting image of me, so God help him. But from what I've seen, my standpoint, I've had problems with the school system in the past, and me and Dr. Latham have had discussions. I brought them up to some of the school committee members of the past. like I said, I've only been here back in the city of Lynn a couple of years. And my experience was that in the past, I mean, I actually brought the school district to court to get my son what I thought was his basic needs and rights. And first, his kindergarten year of school. I mean, these children throughout our city, and you heard it all evening, that they are our future, and I truly believe that from my life experiences and what I've seen in the city, the diversified people, whatnot. But I mean, we can always do better. Always do better. I mean, if we're just gonna sit here and flap our gums and say, okay, well, yeah, this was a good argument, this wasn't such a good argument, stats, numbers, this, that, and the other. All I'm trying to make my point is that the people have spoken. So, and I please request you guys to take that into consideration. So you guys have been the ones elected into your position to make that. All they want is a fighting chance. They want an opportunity to see what's out there. So please just take everything into consideration, and that's all I have to say.
For the record, Mr. Tarasuik was allowed to speak for 5 minutes and 59 seconds, given the donated time that had been given prior to his speaking. The next person to speak against posting the superintendent's position is Scott Noka. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And again, would you please state your name and home address?
Good evening, and thank you. My name is Scott Noka, and I live at 70 Lynn Shore Drive. I'm a 6-year resident of Lynn, and I have a daughter at the Brickett Elementary School. I've been quite happy with our experience with the public school system. But as I've been noticing during all the hearing this evening, many of the people speaking out have noted that they don't feel like they're being heard, that the school system doesn't hear their concerns. There was one person that, from the other side, had specifically said, why are we, the people of Lynn, trying to have a say in who the superintendent is? That's all your job. But I would say, actually, I think that we do need a say. We need to have some voice in this sort of decision. Darren Sear earlier also noted that parents need to find another way. He felt that finding a new superintendent wasn't the answer. I think I would agree with him as a person that's speaking here as part of the Lynn Parents Organizing for Better Lynn Parents Organizing for Better Education. I think there is a different way, other than simply hiring a different person from outside. I believe that the best way to ensure good schools lies not with a particular individual serving as superintendent, but creating a process by which parents have a voice in evaluating that superintendent. Adding a provision to the superintendent's contract requiring her to respond directly to parents, to be evaluated by parents, is perhaps the best way to ensure that we have the best leadership we can have for our schools. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
I have come to the end of the list of people, excuse me, wishing to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position. So what I am going to do at this time is call 3 times for anybody who would like to add their name to this sheet. If you would like to add your name to the sheet to sign up to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position, please approach the school committee.
You want in favor posting?
This is in favor of posting.
Okay. You put it back.
That's talking about you.
I will now call a second time for anybody wishing to sign up to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position. And this will be your last opportunity to sign up to speak, this last time I call. Is there anybody else wishing to sign up to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position? Seeing nobody else who wishes to sign up to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position, that speaker list is now declared closed. We'll now go to Lisa Bishop, who will be speaking in favor of posting the position.
Hi, my name is Lisa Bishop, and I live at 150 Jarvis Street. I do not know enough about dust vapor. I just believe, as a public, we have a right to have, if not having some kind of, I'm sorry, I'm terrible public speaker. It needs to be open to see what else is out there. And it's some kind of review process to see where she is coming, and that needs to be seen by all the parents, so we know where we've been and where we're going, versus just all these little data. And I am a parent of 2 small children. I have one in preschool and one about to enter school. So it is our future, and it's important for my children to have a strong education. And there are a lot of feelings things in life. Let's open it up and see what else is out there. There's no harm. It's nothing against her. Let's see what is out there. Thank you.
Next to speak against posting the superintendent's position is Rich Cowdell.
Okay, good evening. Just like to speak, first of all, my name is Rich Cowdell. My address is 122 Whitland Ave in Lynn, and I'm speaking as the principal of Marshall Middle School. I'm also speaking as a parent of 2 students, one who attended all of their years at Lynn Public Schools, and another who's finishing up her final year at Lynn English High School this year. And I'm speaking for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I wanted to clarify, because there have been several people that have come up to me and talked to me and said, Rich, I heard that you applied for and were looking to leave the Lynn Public Schools. And that would be correct, in the sense that I applied for and was offered a position at a different school system. I would tell you the reason I'm speaking about this is the fact that several people have said to me, we've heard the reason is because of the fact that you have disagreements, do not support or don't feel supported by the current administration. And I said, that is the farthest from the truth that could be out there. That you're abandoning ship because you just take a look at Marshall and say it's not a doable school. And that too would not be true. To tell you just a little bit of the background, in October there were several things that happened, several events that happened in my life that affected family, one of which was a temporary health issue, and almost simultaneously I was encouraged by outside people to apply for an opening in their school system. I did it and very, very quickly began to regret it. I knew that the likelihood would be true, that there would be less stress in a suburban school system with an AYP that was in the 90s. I knew that there would be less stress in the sense that they have a building that they're in the MSBA as well and in the pipeline for a new building. But when I walked into their building, it looked like a building that I would have taken immediately and said, I'll take this one, forget about the new one that you're trying to get. All of that is true. And for a while I hemmed and hawed, and then I realized, and several people within my own school. Students, teachers, parents said to me, we understand, but we wish you weren't going. It really did come down to a decision at the end where I was hemming and hawing back and forth. And to be honest with you, the leadership that Dr. Latham has been providing and the support that she provides to Marshall was one of the pros when I listed out pros and cons. She has not faltered when I've asked her for support. She's backed us. She recognizes the challenges. I would say that I too am disappointed that this has become more of an adversarial process. I don't think that we ever want to alienate parents. One of the things that has been our goal at Marshall is to actually involve parents, and we have a hard time doing it. One of the speakers today wrote an email to me, and I praised her for her passion and for her involvement. We need that at Marshall. That's part of the success plan, is to involve parents. Some of the speakers tonight that have been speaking in favor of posting, I've been very impressed with. They're well-spoken, intelligent. We need that as part to make us successful. I'm well aware of that, and I believe the superintendent is well aware of that as well. I would certainly be opposed to posting, because I can tell you there's a reason why I was offered the position in Wakefield. There's a reason why Mr. Murphy has been offered a position in Swampscott. It's because it is well known. This is in a competitive environment. There were 20-something candidates for the position in Wakefield. There were 20-something in Swampscott. Lynn principals are doing an incredibly strong job, and that's well known out there across the whole state. And that's part of the puzzle piece that Dr. Latham, Dr. Wari, Sue Rowe have been able to set up. And I know Sue is new to the position of deputy, but she's been around leading curriculum for quite a while. I'm very pleased from a parent's perspective of what the Lynn Public Schools have done for my two daughters. And I would say strongly that we should continue the path that we're on. I do know also that I said, that's just my opinion though when it comes to superintendency and tenure. So I decided maybe I should do a little research instead of just saying my opinion. And so I researched a little and said, what does tenure and superintendency, how does that affect anything? There's actually a study by Robert Marzano. Now, if you're not an educator, then you probably don't know the name, but Robert Marzano happens to be a guru across the country in education. And his study that he co-authored actually showed that there is a direct correlate to the amount of years that a superintendent stays in the system and achievement. And the reason that I would suggest that is because although it sounds like a good idea to every couple of years switch superintendents and look for the next best candidate that's out there, we can imagine what that would do to the people within the system as it changes gears and slides left and right throughout. In my humble opinion, it makes more sense to get behind the superintendent that is here and to be able to support that superintendent. The study also says you need effective principals, you need parents involved, and you also need a united school committee that is behind the superintendent. I would encourage all of us to do a little bit of reflection tonight and see how we can make that work. Because if either side feels like they won and the other side lost, my feeling is that that's not a win. We need to get together and pull all of this together and make Lynn the best public school it can possibly be. Thank you.
The next person to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position is Jennifer Bowles.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Bowles. I live on 7 Wood Road in Maine, Massachusetts. I have 3 children in the school system. I have twins that are 8 years old. They go to Avon, and I have a daughter who goes to Pickering Middle School. Just some of my concerns is like the principals are leaving. Robert Murphy's been a great principal. The Avon principal has been a great principal, and you know, I get it. I get that, you know, the politicians, if they're, you know, Dr. Latham being here. You know, I remember when Charlie was over at the Food Master getting signatures, you know, trying to get on the board. You know, I get the teachers trying, you know, to support Dr. Latham, but I really believe that, you know, we need to have this, you know, the parents aren't against you, you know, they just need, like, we need an open mind. We need to have some open minds on the school committee. We need to have some open opportunities out there. You know, I mean, I have kids, you know, who go to Avon. I live in the system, I live in the Sisson area, and they have developmental needs, you know, they're 6 weeks early. You know, I fought and fought and fought for them to get what they needed. And I have, you know, my daughter who's at Pickering, I'm very involved with her, you know, in the school there. It's just that, you know, the last principal that talked is, you know, we need to have effectiveness and efficiency. And I believe, you know, you do have it, but, you know, I've had run-ins with you. You know, I had to go to the mayor, you know, and I don't like to do that. But, and then it got to the point that I didn't even get anywhere with the mayor. You know, and I actually had to call, you know, the district attorney to get to that, what I needed to get to for my kids. And I didn't like doing that. But I had to do what I had to do for my kids. I had to advocate for my kids. I mean, I started off with Tom over here. And then it was like, you know, I went through the steps I had to get through. And, you know, I hated doing that. You know, I mean, I help with politicians too. You know, you know, but the thing is, when I do that, I believe in that person. And right now, I'm going to tell you the truth, I don't believe in you because of the stuff that has happened with me. You know, my daughter getting bullied, you know, you lost the paperwork on that twice.
Just state to the topic, please.
I'm stating the topic, okay? You just, you know, the truth is the truth. And I'm being honest. And, you know, the politicians of the council at large here have talked about, you know, humble compassion, you know, the devotion. Yes, you do have that. But the compassion is on what you want to do. The devotion is what you want to do with the school system. You know? I mean, I was fighting when these kids were in pre-K saying, listen, we need to go in an integrated classroom. You know, they just got it this year. That was my full-time job, you know, and they finally got it. You know, but like I said, with the outside help, and it was like, that was ridiculous. I mean, I shouldn't have to go that far. I wasn't born in Lynn. I came to Lynn because I wanted my children to have diversity. I wanted them to have opportunities. You know, I worked in human services. I know what it's like. You know, and the point is that when it gets to that point in my life that I have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting, and there should be opportunity for people like ourselves, the taxpayers, the parents, and everything, you know, it should be granted to us because, you know, this is what our country is based on, you know, but this is why people from other countries come to this country. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next to speak up against posting the superintendent's position, Jennifer Manganiello.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jennifer Manganiello. I reside at 13 Northridge Circle Lane. Presently, I am a vice principal at English High School. In addition to that, I've been a lifelong Linner for over 40 years. Within that capacity, I chose, because I'm very indebted to the city of Lynn and to the people of the city of Lynn, to raise my children as Lynn Public School children, my own individual children. I have a first grader who attends Linwood School and two smaller children, a 4-year-old who will be attending soon, and a newborn child at home now. The reason that I am here is to support, obviously, Dr. Latham not posting the position. Dr. Latham and I have known each other for many years. I want to speak on a topic in which I have not heard anyone previous to me speak. Unlike other individuals here, I am able to speak in the capacity of teacher, colleague. Dr. Latham and I first met each other in 1995 as classroom teachers, both math teachers at Lynn English High School. What I would like to say, and what really sticks with me most, is I've heard a lot of opposition towards Dr. Latham regarding special ed, and her distance from it, her non-support of it, her staying at an arm's length regarding it. What I would like to say is a personal story in which to counter that. Many years ago, when Dr. Latham was the head of the math department, she, as head of the math department, was in charge of making the schedules, the teacher schedules. People put in their requests. Most of the individuals chose higher level math courses to teach, such as an AP Calc, AP Stats, Algebra 3, so on and so forth. Then, of course, at that time, that was 1995, so this was probably about the year 2000. As department head, we had CP3 classes, which were considered college preparation level 3. Those were the lowest level math courses. What I found most surprising is when the schedule for the teachers came out, who was the one who opted to teach the special ed math classes? It was Dr. Latham. She herself assigned her schedule to teach the special ed math courses. She did not assign herself to the high-level courses, such as the AP Stats and AP Calc. She was brilliant with those children. She was brilliant in that classroom. She's connected to those children. She always was. I've seen her in action as a teacher, as an administrator within the school building itself, and I've seen her in action beyond that. She's a wonderful individual who does care tremendously about the students of Lynn. I had an issue with my own child last year in kindergarten. That was, I spoke with her, let her know my concerns, and after some time, those concerns were met. I had a little boy who did not want to go to kindergarten, and that broke my heart. There were different reasons for that. When that change was made, and it was a very serious change, he no longer woke up telling me, I don't want to go to school, Mom. He wanted to go to school, and he wanted to be with those other students who did care about going to school. And the reason being is because Dr. Latham does care, and she does want the best. And she is a woman who's not afraid to say no. A lot of people are not used to hearing that. And a lot of people may disagree with what she has to say from time to time. But trust me, as a lifelong Lynner, and I'm very, very proud to say that. And I'm also very proud to say that my children attend the Lynn Public Schools, and that's my choice. My children do not have to go to the Lynn Public Schools. But I choose to put them there and will continue their education there through 12th grade. And that is because of the leadership and the direction of Dr. Latham, and I hope the individuals in front of me will take that into consideration. And I do thank you for your time.
Next to speak in favor of posting the superintendent's position is Marion Williams. Again, please state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Marion Williams. I live at 45 Linden Terrace here in Lynn. Grown up in Lynn. I was educated in Lynn. I have 7 children, my husband and I, and they're all educated here in the city. Now I have the pleasure of having a special needs grandson who is having his education. Unfortunately, he's in an out-of-town placement because the services couldn't be met here in Lynn for him. I tried for 4 years to get him the placement he needed, and I was fought all the way until finally the same paperwork that they fought with to keep him in the city of Lynn was the same paperwork that they used to put him in an out-of-town placement. And my gripe with that is I now have a 6th grader who can't read, who can't write. And I feel like he lost 4 years. I'm not here to judge, Dr. Latham. I just feel that there's ideas out there and other people have ideas. Let's pick the brains, of the people. And maybe, somebody has better ideas, maybe they don't. But there's no fear. I can't see any fear in posting the job. I mean, even our President of the United States gets elected every 4 years. He has to run, and the people have to elect him. I know the school committee elects, the Dr. Latham. I just feel that somebody else should have that opportunity. It shouldn't be closed. It should be open. And that's all I have to say.
Next to speak against posting the superintendent's position is John Hoffman.
My name is John Hoffman. I live at 27 Lexington Street in Lynn. I have to first say, I'm one of the regular people. I am not connected with the school system in any way. I don't draw a paycheck from the school system. But with the exception of the principals, the teachers, and the students, I'm probably in the schools more than anybody. And I mean all the schools. Because I'm not doing this because I want people to know me or watch my station, but I do the sports and other programs on television, so I get to mingle with a lot of kids for a lot of different things that go on in the city. We've got some great kids, and those didn't come through osmosis. Those came through teachers who were taking a little bit of a beating here tonight. I can attest to one teacher who just umpired a baseball game the other night, and it was a cold, damp night, and on top of that, the Bruins were playing at 7:30, and he wanted to get out of there, and he spent the better part of a half an hour talking to a former student about giving advice, what you should do, how you should, how you should progress, where you should go, maybe to a North Shore community, talking about taking out loans or no loans. That's somebody that gave their time that didn't have to. Our teachers do that. And that made me think of Kathy. I look at her, she's friendly, she's outgoing, she's available, she's a hard worker, and she's tough. She does things. I think we've laid a lot of things at her feet, some of which were there before she came, some of them will be there after she leaves. In a perfect world, everyone would be taken care of. All the kids who need it, all the kids who don't speak English now, who have to go home and don't practice their English because their parents don't speak the language. All of that stuff. It's very difficult for our teachers. We have great leaders in our schools. Some of the principals who are here, Mr. Strangi, Mr. Constantino, Mr. Cabdell, Mrs. Ruggiero, Eddie Tremaine was here. They do outstanding work under very trying circumstances. The two biggest problems that I see are the budget and language. The budget, run bake sales, run dances, run raffles, do whatever you can to try and raise money just to get updated textbooks and more supplies that we could use. The language barrier, we just have to work at it, and everybody is working at it. But I think what has to happen is everybody has to come together instead of everybody separating, going in different directions. It's easy enough for me to sit up here and say, I want this, I want that, on my child or this child. We have to think of all the children in the school. And when I read in the paper about the Lynn schools being in disarray. I know that's not a fact. It made it seem, if you weren't associated with the schools and you don't get there, it made it seem as though people were running amok in the halls and were banging the walls and nobody was running the show. That's not the case. Fred Dupuy is out with surgery. I hope he gets back very quickly. Mr. Costello is doing a terrific job. He does the same job when Fred's there. The head coach puts it down. The assistant coaches, a very good head coach lets the assistant coaches do their job and they oversee. And if something happens, they come over and talk. If you go to a practice field, you see the head coach standing one side, letting the assistant coaches run the show. If anything happens, he'll come over and say, we should have done this, we should have done that. That's what Kathy Latham does. She lives in a fishbowl. I don't think anybody here would want to walk in her shoes. I've been around, I'm probably the oldest person in this room. Next to probably John Ford. By the way, I struck out when I played softball. But I've been around for an awful lot of superintendents. We've had some terrific, outstanding superintendents. She doesn't take a backseat to anybody. She's doing her job. She deserves it. She deserves to move on. We can't lay all of this at her feet. Everybody has to come together, and what we have to do is we have to help her, not hinder her, and put all our energies together to get behind her and these great teachers and principals and get everything done. Thank you.